All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so excited to be back. Let me know, did you guys have a good Christmas, a good New Year's? How did it go? What did you do? Did you do any fun stuff? Let me know. I had a wonderful break, a wonderful vacation, and spent time with my family and everything. But it's good to be back. I'm excited to get to uh, share with you guys again and communicate with you and answer questions and all that good stuff. I did miss you guys for that 2 weeks. Um, so if you are joining me live today, just say hi in the chat, put a hi, put a hello, put a wave, whatever you want. And if you're catching the replay, just put hashtag replay in the comments for me. Okay, so on the last live, I gave you some ways to start planning for the goals you want, right, in the new year, the goals you want to accomplish this year, or, whenever if you don't make resolutions, just whenever you want to start working on a goal. I gave you some ways to start planning for that. And today I'm going to be sharing the common reasons most people don't accomplish their goals, because there's some common reasons that many people make, that mistakes that many people make, and this is why a lot of people don't accomplish the goals they want, especially health goals, health related goals. um, and of course, I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. Instead of doing these things, I want you to think a little bit differently and try something different. You know, if you if you recognize yourself in these reasons why you don't accomplish your goals. So if you recognize that, oh, that's probably why I'm not accomplishing my goals, then I'm going to give you some tips for how you can actually start doing that. So let's get started. So, one of the biggest reasons many people don't accomplish their goals is because they don't know their triggers. And this is a big one when it comes to health goals. You know, Eating better, exercise, mental health, anything that has to do with your physical health, your mental health, your well-being. Um, you really need to know your triggers, your what causes you to quit doing the healthy thing, right? What stands in your way? You kind of need to know your triggers so you can recognize them and stop your behavior. Because if you don't know your triggers, then how can you stop the behavior or prevent it, right? Prevent it from happening. So let's talk about triggers for a minute. Um, a trigger is the cause of a result. So, a trigger can be an event or a situation that prompts you to do a behavior. So, um, if you are an emotional eater, it's very important for you to identify what triggers you to emotionally eat, right? And it can be anything, right? For many people, it's stress. That is what I find a lot. That was what it was for me when I was an emotional eater. I um i would emotionally eat when I felt stressed. But it can also be an environment, like a work environment, a home environment, or any other kind of environment that you maybe don't feel comfortable in. And it can also be a person. Like, some people trigger us, right? Like coworkers, family, friends, acquaintances. just people that we may come in contact with regularly may trigger us, and that may make you emotionally eat. So I want you to take a look at those things. If you feel like are an emotional eater, um, figure out what is triggering that. What triggers you to emotionally eat, right? Or what triggered you in the beginning? What triggered you to start emotionally eating? Right now, it may be just a habit that you've had a long time. So you may have to think back. Like me, it was like 8 or 10 years of, I started emotionally eating because I would get stressed, and that's how I would deal with it. But then after so long, after so many years, I really, it wasn't stress. It was just that it was a habit by then. So, um, think about that when if you are an emotional eater, just think about if when did you start emotionally eating? Was it 10 years ago? Was it 15 years ago? And what could have triggered that? Because right now it may not be something current. It may be something in your past that was triggering you at the time. And then from there, it just became a habit. So, you guys have to forgive me. I've got a little bit of like an allergy going on. So, got a little bit of a stuffy nose, stuffy, runny, all that. So, um, hopefully I don't cough or anything too bad. Uh, so, so, figure out what your triggers are and what makes you want to emotionally eat. Um, so like I said, it could be stress, it could be an environment, it could be a person. And these triggers may cause you to seek comfort in food, right? Food, but it can also be alcohol, smoking, drugs, like, it doesn't always have to be food, but for a lot of us it is, because that's readily available. Um, but so take a look at that. And if you suspect that this might be why you emotionally eat and you want to stop, then you first need to notice when you get the urge to do so. So, when do you get the urge to emotionally eat or emotionally drink alcohol, whatever it is, smoke? Um, so first, think about that. When are you triggered? What sets it off? What makes you crave it? And that can kind of help you figure out what your trigger is. Um, so if you do that after about a week or so of noticing every time you want to emotionally eat or whatever it is for you, then you'll probably be able to make that connection to what's causing you to get triggered. So if you get the urge to snack when you get stressed, then if you recognize that is your trigger, like you get stressed out, so you want to snack, you want to, um, emotionally eat, then you want to replace your usual behavior, which is emotional eating, drinking, whatever. Um, your usual behavior of snacking with something that will calm you down. So, what else can you do that will calm you down, like the eating or the snacking, the smoking, the drinking alcohol? What else would make you feel the same way? Because you can't just cut it out. You have to replace it with something else, or it won't go away. It'll be very hard to stay consistent with that, right? So, if you like reading books, if you like walking, um, go outside and get some fresh air. Make that your new, when you get stressed, make that your new thing. When you get triggered to emotionally eat, make going outside and getting fresh air, make that your new habit instead of emotionally eating. So once you know your triggers, do your best to stay away from them. That's what we want to do. We want to do our best to stay away from the things that we know trigger us, right? So if you get triggered by smelling fast food, it may not be 100% possible, but maybe, don't go to fast food restaurants, or don't, like, have a plan, have a way, plan it out ahead of time to where you don't have to come in contact with your triggers once you find out what they are. Um, at least temporarily, you want to do that at least temporarily, until you feel more in control of your emotional eating or whatever it is. So, and like, if you can't stay away, like if it's a coworker, a family member that triggers you, you want to find a different way to cope, like we talked about earlier, like going outside and getting some fresh air, separating yourself. Deep breathing is a great way. If you have a coworker that you have to be in contact with and you can't just like go away from them, try some deep breathing, try some positive affirmations, something subtle where, they don't know that you're being triggered, and you can practice that instead of like snacking on M&Ms or something, right? So try that. That's the first tip. And that's the first reason why a lot of us don't stay consistent uh with our New Year's resolutions or our new goals and things like that, is because we don't know our triggers. So try this for figuring out your triggers, and hopefully that will help. If you identify with this, if you're an emotional eater or an emotional drinker or something like that, this should help with you. This should help with that. So, another huge reason that you don't accomplish goals, that you don't stick with your goals, is that you don't make room for them. So, this is one of the most common reasons that people don't accomplish their goals, because they don't ever take away anything off their plate, but they just keep adding. Like, how are you going to accomplish a goal that takes an hour a day, or a few hours a week, if you never take anything off your plate and make room for it? So that is a reason a lot of people end up quitting on their goals. They don't accomplish them because they don't make room for them. And usually this is because we aren't as serious about them as we think we are. So if you are really serious about this goal that you want, like a health goal or something, then you are going to make room for it. You're going to take something off your plate so you can make room for this goal. And that's how you know you're serious. If you are willing to do that, if you're willing to say no, if you're willing to, um, take something off of your plate to make room for this new goal. So you have to create space for your goals, for goals that are important to you. You have to. If you don't, then you're just winging it, and you're not gonna, you're more likely to quit and not accomplish it. So you have to make room. You have to make space for your goals. And this means taking something off your plate, like I said, to make room for the goal. So don't overschedule yourself. Don't stretch yourself too thin, and stop saying yes to everything. That is one of the things I teach my clients the most is, you have to stop trying to please everybody. You have to stop saying yes to everything. And you have to set limits. Like, I even set limits with my kids. We're not going to be out running around every night doing some extracurricular activity. I limit it to two per week. And if that's not enough, that's enough for me. That's my limit. And I'm not going to be out every night doing extracurricular activities. And that's for my sanity. That's for my mental health. That's for my physical health. Um, so you have to set limits for you and your family and what you're willing to keep up, right? Because I know for me, if I'm out there every night of the week, taking my kids around doing stuff, then when is my time? When am I going to have time to cook dinner? When am I going to have time to eat healthy and do my exercise and things like that? You have to think about that. Like, what is more important? Your kids doing all these things, you running your kids around, or, you living 10, 20, 30 years longer because you're taking care of yourself. And what do you think your kids are going to want more? What do you think your kids are going to want more? Are they going to want a healthy mother, a healthy parent, or an unhealthy one that doesn't live as long? Like, I think about that. You may think, oh, she's selfish, because she won't let her kids be in all these sports and things. I do, but I just limit it because I know I'd rather be around for them longer and not be stressed out all the time and not be eating fast food all the time and have time to cook and have time for them to eat healthy as well. So, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I'm just trying to give you examples from, like what I do. So maybe that can help you. But this is all part of creating space for your goals. If you don't create space for your goals, then how are you going to accomplish them? You have to have a plan and you have to make room for what you plan to do. So don't overschedule yourself and stop saying yes to everything, right? And a good way to do this is something that I use is to decide ahead of time, like I said earlier, how many activities a week you're comfortable with. Um, and don't go over that number. And that's what I do. And I'm firm about that. And, this will cause you to think twice before you say yes to things. And you don't have to say yes right away when someone calls you or texts you or messages you and says, hey, can you do this? Or, can you commit to this on Tuesday nights or whatever? You don't have to say yes right away. Give it some time. Think about it. Think about what you're willing to how full you're willing to make your schedule. Think about, are you going to want to do that every single week? Are you going to want to do that continuously? So give it time, and you can always say, let me get back to you, or I'm as busy as I want to be. That's one of my favorite things when I don't want to be overscheduled. I don't want to have anything going on every night, right? That's what I say. I'm as busy. Thank you for the offer, but I'm as busy as I want to be. Or let me get back to you. Let me talk about it, think about it, talk to my family about it. I say these things all the time. I never just say yes to things. So try that. And that's going to help you make room for your goals. That's going to help you make room for the things that are important to you, to the goals that are important to you. So if you are serious about a goal, especially a health goal, because, that's what I always think about is, health goals. If you're serious about your health goals, then when you don't overschedule yourself and you make room for it in your week, then that means you're super serious about it. So try these tips for that. If you identify with that, if you're one of those people who overschedules yourself too much and then you end up too stressed out or regretting saying yes and things like that. If you identify with that, try these tips. Okay. And then the other common reason you may not accomplish your goals, you may not be accomplishing your goals, is because you don't have the patience to stick with it, right? You don't have the patience to stick with your goals. So, most people aren't realistic about the amount of time it will take to accomplish a goal. We think, oh, it's going to take, you know, 3 hours a week or 5 hours a week. And it may take more than that, and we have to be realistic about what it's going to take to accomplish it. And, we always want our goals. We want to accomplish our goals as quick as possible. Um, but and when we want it as quick as possible, like let's say weight loss, if you want quick weight loss, then you go all in, right? Instead of changing like one thing at a time, you go on all in and you change your whole diet and you start exercising every day, and you do all these things, but then you get burnt out because you did too much too soon, right? So be realistic and don't say, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in a month or 3 months or whatever. uh, you don't even have to set a timeline. Just do it the healthy way the first time, and then you're creating lasting goals, right? Instead of trying to do too much too fast, go all in, and then you get burnt out and quit the whole thing. you know I think the last live I did, I talked about how you know it's better to start slowly, like change one meal at a time, and like then add on to it, and slowly do that, and then add some exercise, add 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and work your way up. That is going to be so much more realistic and long lasting. You're going to be more consistent when you do that than if immediately want to change all three meals, and then start working out an hour a day when you don't work out at all. That is a very good way to burn out quickly. So instead, be realistic, take your time, change one thing at a time. And it can be a small thing, it can be a really small thing. Like just start drinking more water instead of, switch. If you're used to drinking soda all day, start drinking, replace one soda with a glass of water, or some, low calorie drink or sugar free drink or something. Slowly make these changes. So then you're more likely to stick with them and be consistent with them for the long run. So hopefully that makes sense. Um, and so another thing that I see is people quit too soon because their results aren't fast enough. That is another thing that I see. And you may decide in your head that you're going to lose 30 pounds in a few months, but uh, then you're not losing weight fast enough, as fast as you thought. So you quit before the month is up. That's why a lot of people quit by January or February, because they're not seeing results fast enough, and then they end up quitting. But don't do that. Stick it out, stick it out. So instead, like, don't put a timeline on your goal. Just have a realistic plan for how you will lose the weight. And however long it takes is however long it takes. It's okay. You don't have to have a timeline. Just be realistic. And you'll get there if you have a plan. Um, and if your plan fits well into your lifestyle, right? And if you are pretty consistent with it. So that is the thing, is staying consistent with it. Um, and if it's realistic for your lifestyle, then you will be consistent with it. Um, so just keep that in mind. Keep your lifestyle in mind when you're making your plan. And you do need a plan. You're more likely to stay consistent if you have a plan, if you're not just winging it. So try that if you are one of those people who identifies with this one, with this common mistake. You don't have patience to stick with your goals, right? Try these tips for that. All right, guys. So if you can change these three behaviors or whatever behavior, it may be one, it may be all three, I don't know. Um, if you can change these behaviors when it comes to your goals, then you will accomplish them. You will be more likely to accomplish them. You will stay more consistent with them if you can change the way you think about them, and if you can follow these tips instead of making these mistakes. And let me know. I want to know if you identified with any of these mistakes. Have you made these mistakes? Do you make these mistakes every year? Um, Let me know. I would love to know. And if you're needing a personalized plan to help with your health and fitness goals, I do offer a personalized nutrition blueprint. So if you would like more information on that blueprint, then you can just put blueprint in the chat or in the comments, and I will get that to you. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys are having a good new year, and I appreciate you watching. I always appreciate you watching live and watching the replays. And I will see you next Tuesday with a new live. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye.